Are you tired of manual cloud setup chaos? Sick of mysterious errors and configuration drift? It's time to level up from hobbyist to pro. Welcome to this comprehensive course summary presented by Non-Techie Guide. In just 30 seconds, we will unlock the secret to building faster, staying more secure, and scaling effortlessly on Azure. First, we move beyond the confusion of manual clicks and old portals. We introduce the modern solution, Infrastructure as Code, or IAC. By treating your servers like software, you gain a repeatable digital blueprint for success. Our tool of choice? Azure Bicep, a simplified, humane language whose powerful muscle builds the complex ARM robot. We break Bicep down to its essentials, parameters, variables, and the all-important resource declarations, and compare it against cumbersome old JSON. Finally, we guide you to a hands-off automated world. We contrast safe and additive incremental deployments with aggressive complete janitor deployments and show you how to use the what-if analysis for a crucial safe preview. Join us now to discover how CI/CD pipelines, the automated robot, can validate, test, and deploy your consistent, repeatable code directly to the Azure cloud, preventing costly mistakes and preparing your environment for the future. Watch the full course and get ready to master the cloud. Imagine the frustration of building a house by hand, only to realize you forgot the foundation. In the early days of cloud computing, that's exactly how we worked. Setting up a digital environment meant logging into portals, clicking endless buttons, and manually configuring settings. It was slow, prone to human error, and nearly impossible to replicate perfectly, leading to the nightmare of configuration drift. But there is a modern solution: infrastructure as code. Think of it as moving from hand-drawing your servers to programming them with a digital blueprint. Using tools like Azure Bicep, you define your entire network and virtual machines in a single configuration file. This single source of truth ensures absolute consistency, lightning-fast deployments, and the ability to undo mistakes through version control. With IAC, your infrastructure isn't just a collection of settings, it's a powerful, automated asset that can be rebuilt anywhere in minutes. Azure Bicep, the muscle behind your cloud. Azure Bicep is the powerful, easy-to-read language used to build your house in the Microsoft Azure cloud. If infrastructure as code, IAC, is the concept, Bicep is the actual tool that makes it happen. Why the name Bicep? It's a programmer's joke. Azure uses the ARM, Azure Resource Manager, to manage resources. Since the bicep is the muscle that moves the arm, this tool provides the strength and ease to build your infrastructure. The anatomy of a bicep file. Think of a bicep file as a well-organized recipe with 4 main sections. 1. Resource declarations. The core. This is where you define exactly what you want to build. Details. You provide a symbolic name, the type of resource, like a storage account, its location, for example, East US, and its size, SKU. 2. Parameters. Reusability. These allow you to use the same template for different projects. Flexibility. Instead of typing server prod directly, you use a parameter so you can change the name to server test whenever you need. 3. Variables. Internal logic. Use these for behind-the-scenes math or complex naming. Efficiency. If you have a long, specific naming rule, store it in a variable so you don't have to type it out multiple times. 4. Outputs. Information sharing. Once Azure is done building, outputs spit out useful data. Connections. This could be the unique ID of a new server or a connection string that another tool needs to work. We start with your Bicep workflow. The process is simple. You draw up a plan. On your computer, you write a .bicep file that contains your exact specifications. Next, you send that plan to the Azure command line interface, and with one command, it's sent to the Azure cloud to begin processing. But how big is your plan? We use the metaphor of nesting dolls to understand deployment scopes. These are like stacked containers. The largest, outermost container is the tenant or management group scope, which large corporations use to set rules across hundreds of different sub-accounts. The next nested doll is the subscription scope, used for the big picture items, like creating new resource groups. The smallest, most common container is the resource group scope. Think of this final nest as a specific bucket where you deploy your apps and databases, keeping related items together. Finally, let's see how deployment works. It's all about declarative magic. We forget the old crossed-out imperative way. Instead of sending complex how-to manuals that require a team of stick figures using screwdrivers and worrying about memory, ports, etc., we provide a simple blueprint. We declare on a scroll, "My plan, 50 gigabyte database." The Azure engine receives this simple statement and compares it to reality. It sees the existing 10 gigabyte database, and instead of asking for more instructions, it does all the heavy lifting itself. The result? The engine modifies reality to match your request perfectly, resulting in your final 50 gigabyte database. It's infrastructure magic without the manual effort. Cloud environments are never static. Eventually, your digital house will need updates, like adding more memory or deleting old resources. As Non-Techie Guide is presenting, Bicep handles these updates using two distinct modes. We start in Quadrant 1 with an existing resource group containing a web app and a database. The user thinks, "I need to add a storage account." How you deploy that change matters immensely. If you choose incremental mode, shown in Quadrant 2, it is additive and safe. Azure will happily add your new storage account, but leaves the existing web app and database exactly as they were. This is the safest default mode. However, complete mode is the aggressive janitor mode. It enforces a strict rule set. The resource group must look exactly like your Bicep file. As the cartoon janitor shows, if your Bicep plan only lists just storage, Azure will delete your web app and database, replacing everything. This must be used with extreme caution. To avoid costly mistakes in either mode, Bicep provides the what-if analysis, shown in Quadrant 3. Before you actually deploy, this tool offers a color-coded safe preview. It magnifies and verifies which resources will be created in green, modified in orange, or deleted in red. This crucial preview helps you verify your plan so you know it is safe to deploy. We begin by moving from messy, unmanageable code to organized, modular growth. Instead of one complex, messy, single Bicep file, we break it down into small, self-contained building blocks called Bicep modules. A main file calls different modules, like one to set up a database and another for your network. Teams can share perfect modules, promoting consistency and reuse. Next, we never hard-code secrets like passwords. When you write sensitive info directly into your code, it's insecure and seen by everyone. The pro way is to use the @secure decorator. Azure ensures that value never shows up in logs or on a screen. For central management, we integrate with Azure Key Vault to maintain confidentiality. The final, essential best practice is to move from a human stick figure running code on a laptop to a hands-off, automated robot pipeline, CI/CD. Instead of manual runs, code is updated in version control. The automated robot catches the change, runs what-if analysis, error checks, and then automatically deploys the consistent, repeatable infrastructure to the Azure cloud, ensuring a successful, professional-grade deployment every single time. It's a fundamental shift for faster, more secure cloud management. In this summary sketch, we move from the old way of manual, error-prone clicks to the modern solution, understanding infrastructure as code. This concept uses a digital blueprint to automate consistent cloud environments. We introduce the specific tool, Azure Bicep, a simplified language whose muscle builds your resources using essential ingredients like parameters and resource declarations. You learn how it works, comparing the default safe incremental update mode with the aggressive complete janitor mode and using the what-if analysis for a safe preview. Finally, we guide you from hobbyist to IAC Pro using professional best practices. You integrate with CI/CD pipelines for an automated robot flow that triggers, validates, and deploys your clean, modular, and secure code, creating a hands-off environment ready for the future.